Hey, hi, and hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're doing well. I'm doing well because today we're talking about Redemption, which is the new album, the ninth studio album from Canadian prog rock legends Mystery. Now, who are Mystery? As I said, Canadian prog rock legends. But on this album, we've got a cool lineup. I mean, it's one of those bands, they've been around for a long, long time. And at what point do you stop being new members? You know, some of these people have been in the band for 10 years, 11 years, 9, what time does a decade mean you're not a new member anymore? And you're just another member of the band. But on this one, you have a good variety of older members and newer members. You have Jean Pajot on vocals, keyboard, and flute. Michel Saint-Père on electric and acoustic guitars and keyboards. François Fournier on bass guitars, Taurus pedals, keyboards, and tambourine. Sylvain Moineau on electric and acoustic guitars, Jean-Sébastien Goyette on drums, and Antoine Michaud on keyboards, electric and acoustic guitars, and growl vocals. This album was given to me for review purposes from Michel at Unicorn Digital Inc. So thank you so much. It's also available currently. It came out in May, so it's available on streaming, physical platforms, wherever fine progressive rock and other tunes are sold. Let's get into it. Broadly speaking, what do they sound like, or at least what do they sound like here? Because they've been around for decades, so bands kind of morph over time. Quite often we'll use the tag neo-prog. I think there's better ways to describe the sound of this band. Certainly they're a prog rock act. But I would say listening to this, yeah, you do get a bit of Marillion in there, which are kind of also seen as like the leading neo-prog group. But I think there's other influences you get a bit more of. Like, yeah, there's that Marillion, but I think you get more of that kind of Canadian AOR, heavy AOR sound. So if you think of Saga, if you think of the, the the more harmonic elements of groups like April Wine, I think you'll get that. And then in terms of prog rock, I think if you think of Dream Theater when they're at their most progressive rock, most progressive metal, so take Dream Theater when they're at their more kind of rock oriented, and then take a band like Genesis, that sweet spot where it was Phil Collins, but they're still doing prog rock, so like Trick of the Tail. Um, I think if you kind of take all of that together, mush all of that, that's sort of what you get here on Redemption. And I think that really kind of sums up the band too. I'll circle back to that, but really it's a band that they do a lot of the pleasing aspects of kind of classic or classical prog rock, some of those more melodic groups, the more symphonic groups, but it's updated. They're not doing this in a retro style. There are bands that do that, and I love those bands, but they're not doing it in like an homage or retro style. They're just taking those great elements that make the genre so much fun to listen to and updating it, which I think is great. So, with that said, this is just, I don't know how else to say it, just a really, really good album. You're at, let me just double check here. Yeah, so you have 8 tracks, and there's not a weak one of the bunch. The whole album is just arranged so well, and it just sounds so good that it's really hard to pick a favorite track. They all sort of bleed into each other in a way that's really, really pleasing. Like they're using the sonic soundstage so well that the instruments and the songs are given room to kind of breathe and explore. Often if you listen to a lot of new prog bands, it's like, oh, you got to fill the space. Oh, there's some empty noise here. We got to put an instrument in there. But these guys, it's like, actually, you can say a lot by giving space and time to something, to an instrument or to a specific kind of tone or theme we want to go for. It's really great. If I had to pick, I would go that I really like the 2 opening tracks, which feel like one kind of cohesive unit. So that's Behind the Mirror and then the title track Redemption. Those are really good. The album also closes, which is amazing to think that I feel this is such an accessible album you could give to anyone. And it closes with a 20-minute opus. Is this how the story ends? So, that's kind of the worst parts of prog for a lot of people are these lengthy songs. And this one, it's a lengthy song, but it's beautiful. It ebbs and flows and it goes around, it comes around again. It's fantastic. There's some, I don't know if I'd call them deep cuts because, you need time for an album to have a history to have deep cuts. But my favorite tracks are the 5th one, Pearls and Fire. I really like the keyboards on that, very like 80s AOR sounding in a perfect way. Um, as well as some of the guitar work on the track Homecoming. That's another really rockin' tune. But I mean, like 8 tracks, and for me, there's not a weak one to the bunch, and 4 of them, including the 20-minute piece, are like top tier prog rock in 2023. I think that says so much about how great of an album this is and that the band has put together. Um, Saga is a great band. There's a lot of great AOR bands that are kind of looked over. We kind of look down on that as a genre now, but there's so much there that takes pop hooks and pop melodies and kind of infuses a bit of a rock and some of that hard rock attitude into that. And same with Dream Theater. There's people that don't like metal music, but I think would appreciate a lot of what Dream Theater has to offer, and you get that here. Same with Genesis. Genesis for me is a band that took forever to get into. I just, anytime people describe something as being pastoral, I read that usually as it's going to be boring. But they take those really good elements from Genesis, kind of the symphonic elements, and update it and make it feel contemporary. And that's what you get here. You get like just really, really good contemporary prog music. Is it neo prog? Maybe. As I said in the beginning, like I don't think it doesn't carry a lot of those same motivations and feelings and tones that groups like IQ and Marillion do. And then if you think of like other prog, like a lot of prog, we look to like Porcupine Tree as being neo prog because it's prog coming after the heyday of prog in the mid to late 90s moving forward. There's some of that here, but I think looking to like Saga and April 1, Dream Theater, Genesis, these are more apt. But again, just an amazing album. Check it out wherever, if you want to stream it, you can stream it. You can buy physical copies everywhere. I'm going to buy a physical copy. I mean, I got the download code for review, but I'm like, no, I need to support what's going on here. This is amazing. It's super accessible, and like I can't stop gushing about it. It's definitely going to be in my top 10 list for the end of the year, maybe top 5. And if it gets bumped out, that's because there's so much amazing music being made right now. But I think this is going to be up there. It's a fantastic album, and I really hope you check it out. Thanks again. I was given the code for review, so thank you so much to Unicorn Digital Media, and I will catch you next time.